You might ask yourself, why the hell is he wearing a cycling kit indoors? Well, today we are taking a look at Siroko's most high-end offering, the SRX line. We are taking a look at the full kit, which includes the vest, the jersey, the bibs, as well as the gloves. So we are answering the question, should you actually invest your money in a performance-oriented Siroko kit? Without further ado, let's jump into the video. Alright, to begin with, let's check out the jersey, shall we? So this one is the SRX jersey, in orange, obviously. And immediately when picking up this jersey, you can feel that it's very, very light and actually also very soft from the material. So first things first, let's go over the construction of this jersey. So this one is a polyester and elastan blend, and you can really feel that by the stretchiness of the material, especially when we compare it to the other M2 jersey from Siroko. You can feel that this one is a lot more stretchy. Looking at the seams here, you can see that everything has been stitched very well together, especially the sides here. The stitching is very even and there is no loose threads to be found anywhere on this jersey. What is also very nice to see is that the hem area here is actually seam sealed, so there's no rubber band on the front of the jersey. Instead, there's just a seam sealer, so it's sort of like a tape, and the benefit of that is that it looks much cleaner on your skin. As you can see here on the B-roll shots, the jersey is very tight and very arrow, and here the bottom hem does not really stand out in any way. If we take a look though at the Siroko M2 jersey, which is an even more budget-friendly option from Siroko, you can see that the top here has a little rubber band, and that rubber band is quite thick, so that's already a great benefit of the SRX jersey. It is just more premium in its construction. Furthermore, what I really like about this jersey is the attention to detail. So first of all, both ends of the zipper here have the little tag so that the zipper is never really on top of your skin. But if we open up the jersey here, we can see even more attention to detail. First of all, what really stands out is that the jersey itself has a tag in the middle on the inside, which says limited edition genuine design. Not really a deal breaker, but it's still cool to see. What is also nice is that the upper end of the jersey pockets are seam sealed here, and they are bar tacked on top of that, so that should really give the pockets some strength to really withhold some stretching. Another great point of attention to detail is that the back of the jersey has these little reflective dots, and that is kind of a design language thing when it comes to Siroko. You will also see these little dots on the bibs, for example. What I really like about the arms here is that there's no rubber band or no other material at the end of the arm. That gives it a really clean, really arrow look on the skin. I already said it in the beginning, when you hold this jersey and pick it up, it's really, really light. And comparing that to the M2 jersey from Siroko here, this one is only 117 grams, while this one is about 170. So this is substantially lighter, which is nice when it comes to the feel and the fit of the jersey, because, well, it's more of a stretchy, thin material that really lays low and tight on your skin. And for the price, I have actually not seen that kind of quality from a jersey manufacturer so far. But the value for money for this jersey in particular is insane. So you can find this jersey for about 40 to 45 euros. If you click on the affiliate link in the description, you get an extra 10% on this. And with that being said, let me disclose to you that Siroko was so kind as to send these products to me for free. But Siroko does not know what I'm going to talk about, nor have I been compensated financially in any other way. So Siroko will see the video right when you see it. But with that being said, not everything is perfect, and there's one thing in particular that is a little bit annoying to me, and that is that this jersey has no zipped back pocket. I really love it when you have at least one zipped back pocket so that you can put your keys inside and not have to worry about them rattling out of your jersey or just falling out on a little jump or whatever. This one unfortunately doesn't have it, but overall I have to say this is by far my new favorite jersey. I really love the fit. It looks very performance oriented. It doesn't look like a cheap jersey whatsoever, even though the price is very budget friendly compared to other brands out there. And the next item on the list is something that is arguably the most important cycling item, and that is a bib shorts, something that really makes or breaks your ride. So having a great bib shorts is very important. So first of all, looking at the straps are made from one material, and if I would have to guess, it's the same material as the jersey. So So it feels like a polyester spandex mix because it's very stretchy. That material is only used at the upper strap part though. If you get to the lower part, you have a sort of ribbed material with quite large holes in them. So that should really help you to not have too much of a sweaty ass. And if we go even further down, we see that the material changes again. There's a couple of different material mixes here. When we get to the actual bib leg, you begin to see the same material as in the jersey again, this sort of very stretchy spandex polyester mix. That again is something that really lays flat on your skin. So also this bibs, to no surprise, is also very performance oriented. So again, quite a light material, and that can be seen when weighing this bibs as well. This bibs is quite a bit lighter than the cargo bibs that Siroko offers from sort of the same line. This is the SRX line and this is the BRX line, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the gravel line, a little bit heavier, a little bit more sturdier, and this definitely lighter and more performance oriented. If we look at the seam of the bibs, it is very well made. Also, again, as I said, Siroko really likes to put these reflective dots on their outer layers. But now we get to the most important part, which is turning the bibs inside out and taking a look at the chamois. This one is a sort of a dark red color, as you can see. This is my favorite chamois I've had on a bibs so far. The reason for it is that it's a very sort of dynamic material mix. I don't know how to say it, but the thickness and the squishiness of the chamois changes quite a lot depending on where you are on the bibs. So where your sit bones are, very unsurprising, you have the thickest part of the chamois, but that changes if you go a bit further down here. You can feel that the hardness sort of loosens. So the further down you go to your sort of soft tissue area, the softer the material gets and the softer the chamois is. In general, the chamois is also quite big, so there's a lot of area that you are padded on, which is always great when you're on a ride. If we go a bit further down from the chamois and get to the bib leg, you can see that the end of the bib leg has this sort of rubber texture on it. They are always very firmly in position, so you don't really have to worry about, you know, pulling down your bib legs on your ride because it starts to creep up. It feels great, it looks professional, and when we look at the price, this is also very hard to beat when it comes to the competition. If you purchase this bib through my link in the description down below, you pay a bit more than 80 euros, which yeah, you will have a really hard time to find that even in the basic line from Rafa, for instance. So value for money here is definitely great, and considering that this is a performance bibs, I think the price is quite reasonable for that. The next item on the list is something that you also probably wear on every ride, at least I do, and that is a Windbreaker vest. So this one is the Siroko SRX Layer, and this is by far my favorite iteration of a Windbreaker vest. I really love the construction, so let's take a look at it. So first of all, if you feel it, it's maybe hard to get it across camera, but you can maybe hear it. It's a thick material, a very shelly material. It's this, water repellent, thick polyester material, which feels really high quality. If we look at the hardware, Siroko has also chosen to go with a more premium hardware. We have a really thick zipper pull here, and the zipper itself is also really interesting because it's the first kind of windbreaker vest I've seen that has a water repellent zipper. It looks similar to the YKK AquaGuards, for instance. So it is really, they have a little lining at the top, which really prevents wind and rain to get inside the zipper area here. So for a windbreaker vest that is your most outside layer, that is a really smart choice. If we open up the vest, or gilet, whatever you prefer, you can see that the inside of the vest is lined with a very stretchy but still very sturdy material. As we can see, all of these seams here are sealed, so no water ingress should be possible. Both sides of the stitches here are seam sealed, which is great. The collar area also feels really sturdy. The material is still a bit stretchy, which is also nice with the fit. As you can see on the B-roll shots, the vest is really tight on my skin. Very aero again, very performance oriented. There's one thing I really like about this vest, and that has to do with my phone, and that is that you can reach your jersey pockets actually through the vest. That is so nice because you don't have to take off the vest in order to reach your phone or whatever you might have in your jersey pockets. That is so convenient. As with the other two items, you also have the reflective dots here again. So when it comes to gilets or vests, this is by far my favorite for now. Really tight, really great fit, nice material, feels really premium, and the price is only 45 euros. And last but not least, we get to another item that is a bit more personal preference. Not everybody wears them, but I do, and that is cycling gloves. And these ones are quite nice because first of all, they are really, really light. So both of them weigh like 26 grams together. I really love if the gloves have no sort of like flap or Velcro. You can just slide in, and they have this stretchy material on the side. Once you slit in, they pretty much feel perfectly. And that is the same as with these ones. They also feel really great. They have a thicker padding here on your thumb where your little nerve runs through that you don't want to damage. Breathability is also something that is really nice because the top part here is a very thin material you can almost see through. So sweat evaporation is great. These are my go-to gloves, and for the price of about 40 euros, I think it's a fair price for a good pair of gloves. Again, if you're interested in any of the items I've talked about today, check out the description below. Everything should be linked in there. And I hope you've gotten anything out of the video. If you did, please consider liking or subscribing. And in any case, have a great week. Bye bye.